Staff responsible for billions of dollars in spending are not covered by the United Nations Conflict of Interest Prevention Program. That's one of the loopholes found in a recent internal UN audit that staff swindled together more than $10 billion in contracts and grants are not required to take part in a financial disclosure program, even though some of them are categorized as high risk for conflict of interest. What does that mean? Well, it means that some employees directly involved in awarding contract do not have to disclose potential conflict of interest in companies that they work with. This includes, for example, having a financial stake in them or having family ties to those companies. This loophole includes many staff who approve grants or manage trust fund with the UN's Humanitarian Aid Coordination Arm, OCHA, and its Human Rights Office, OHCHR. The report also listed the UN offices with the most conflict of interest cases, and the Executive Office of the Secretary General had the third most. This includes some of the highest ranking UN officials, such as Special Envoy, Under Secretary General, and Assistant Secretary General. Generally, the report says that the disclosure program is effective, but the report does recommend patching up those loopholes to make sure that more people are covered and also to train more senior leaders to better understand the conflict of interest rule. The UN told me that it will follow the report's recommendation, but that won't necessarily be easy because to extend the program, the UN needs additional funding and General Assembly approval. And well, the UN has a cash flow problem right now. I spoke with several former UN officials who are very critical of the financial disclosure program. One former Assistant Secretary General told me, for example, that staff did not really take the program seriously and that it was pretty much an honor system. I did some reporting a few years ago about a high-ranking UN official working on a conflict that was really intertwined with natural resources, and at the same time she was also sitting on the board of the energy company Shell. So after my reporting, she quietly resigned from the UN because it was a conflict of interest, and I was quite surprised that the UN either did not know about that conflict of interest or did not do anything to prevent it. So when I found this specific audit, which no other reporter has seen so far, I thought it would be interesting to really have an overview of how the UN manages conflicts of interest globally.